stood there small amongst the flames, village gone in sorrow's name. Tears reflected in the sky, shattered dreams and whispers die. Smoke and ashes fill the air, memories lost in deep despair. She clutches dolls of vanished past in chaos where the shadows cast. Embers of yesterday burn the night away. Screams in silence stay lost in the fray. Her family taken by the storm, life twisted in a cruel form. No solace in the darkened glow.
As Mika sat there, looking down at her hands and thinking over what the ambassador had, told her from a panel in the room. A silvery ball began to form itself out of liquid metal, floating out of the wall and towards Micah.
What in the world?
Solstice said, as he jumped to his feet, pulling a weapon from his side. And aiming at with his weapon it,
Hey, calm down.
Mika said, extending her arms.
He's not going to hurt you. It's fine.
She said, as the silvery orb came to a stop beside him.
Hello, Mika.
The floating orb emoted.
I finally accomplished the last of my duties before the complete systems overcheck and the integration of my new hardware and software, which is most appreciated. My processing power is far greater now, as well as my memory storage space. I no longer have problems focusing on multiple things and has made my job much easier.
What in the world is that?
Solstice is asked, staring at the silvery orb floating beside Mika.
Well, I suppose you haven't been introduced yet. Vima, Ambassador, Solstice, I would like you to meet Exoval.
Wait, just a moment. I thought you said that the ship was named Exoval.
The ambassador said, a curious expression on his face as he stared at the silvery orb floating there in the room.
That is correct.
The floating ball replied,
I am Exoval, a Category 2 Class B war vessel. I am, in fact, the ship that you are currently inside of. This small sphere is simply a bipartisan piece of my being, a means by which I can communicate and perceive within a physical space.
Wait a minute. You're telling me that you're conscious. You mean to assert that you're alive?
The ambassador asked, swiveling in his chair very slowly towards the silver ball.
Well, alive is a matter of opinion. I am technically a highly sophisticated computer program, housed within a highly advanced network of computer software, hardware, and all of the equipment that is attached to it, as well as the nanoscopic technologies that form the primary core of my entity. My base program is that of a duplicate, a copy of the mental structure of a living entity, capable of all of the same thought, reasoning, and intelligence. However, I am uncertain if this qualifies me as alive. Certainly sentient, but alive is normally a description that you apply to biological organisms, which I am clearly not. So I will allow it to be left to your discretion on whether I am alive or not.
Amazing,
The ambassador said, standing out of his seat as he approached the silver orb.
So, you're a ship with a brain, with sentience. Well, I don't know how being alive is categorized on other worlds, but on Kothia we do have sentient technology, and we do consider sentient technology as alive. They are given all the rights and privileges of any other living being, as well as being, held accountable for all of their actions. But as far as I know, we've never gone so far as to give such an advanced sentient program. A body like that of a starship. That's an exceptional amount of power to put in the hands of an artificial program, sentient or no. In our world, most sentient programs are housed within physical forms like that of a person, and even that is exceptionally rare. But whatever the case, I suppose I should introduce myself.
There is no need, Ambassador. I have been overseeing your presence on board the ship since your arrival. I am well aware of your identity, and I am unable to accommodate most biological aspects of meeting. I have no hand to shake. And so I suppose I will just say hello.
And hello to you, my mechanical friend. I must say, this is already becoming a very interesting set of events. I am most intrigued about how the rest of this journey will go. I hope I will get to spend some more time talking to you, Exoval,
he said, smiling at the silver sphere.
I suppose.
Exoval replied.
Oh, Captain Mika, as far as the updates are concerned, the final sets have been put in motion. All of the rooms have now been equipped with a nanite production chamber. That will allow members of the crew to produce whatever items that they wish.
Nanite production chamber.
The envoy said, looking curious.
Yes, Envoy, you will be given one of these as well. Once you are inside of your quarters, you will find a small chamber with a digital readout screen. You may interact with this screen in order to request the production of anything that you desire. As part of my being is that of nanotechnology. I am able to disassemble and reassemble things on a microscopic scale, including things of an incredibly complex design and makeup, so long as I have the materials at my disposal. As such, any member of the crew and any guest of the ship may enter a request for anything. From clothing to decoration for their quarters, dishware, whatever they desire. And my nanites will, from the resources gathered, produce that object. The time it takes to do so will depend on the complexity of the object itself. The screen will, of course, tell you if the necessary materials for that object are within my stores. And as you requested, Mika, the base cost of the materials for the object will be charged to the crew members for its production.
Very good, Exoval. I am glad to hear it. There are definitely some things that I need to spruce up my room.
Mika replied.
Well, I suppose that I have duties to get back to.
Mika said, as she stood up out of her chair.
Thank you for having this conversation with me, Envoy, and it was very enlightening. Exoval, do me a favor and escort the Envoy to his new room while I get back to the rest of my duties.
Of course, Captain Mika.
Exoval replied, vibrating slightly.
If you would follow me, Envoy.
The small sphere said as it began to float towards the door. The Envoy, Sostis, and Vima all following behind curiously. But as that conversation was coming to its end, far out at the edge of Tololan territory, another captain was about to receive a message all their own. There, once more in her office, checking through reports and adding the information to a star chart and a holographic display over her desk, planning her next move. Once again, the doors to her office opened wide.
Captain Shima,
A woman said as she entered the room.
I have an important report, Captain.
It had better be.
The woman said, moving one of her long fingernails and placing hair behind. Her ear looking up impatiently at the woman who just entered as she rushed to the desk that her captain was sitting at.
Captain, we just got this report. Apparently one of the spies that we paid off on board a Toliolan space station to monitor activities and passed over some information. We had to pay them, of course. But according to them, a Kothian was seen entering a trading establishment, a bartering station for ships. There, they seemed to cut some sort of arrangement with an unknown captain who had only recently entered the Toliolan space station. They were asked to keep an eye on the situation, just in case it was the envoy. And we hit pay dirt, Captain. About a half an hour we received a deep space highway. Communication from our plant on the space station. Apparently, a shuttlecraft was seen entering. A construction dock, a shuttlecraft that was registered to the Toliolan royal family, but the life signs registered on the vessel were 3 Kothians. The registered pilot of the ship was a known Kothian security administrator who was given the ship by the Toliolan government. Soon after entering the docking day, a large ship was seen exiting.
According to the scans that they took of the ship, it's a Category 2 warship, Class B. It's
a highly capable vessel. After exiting the space station and moving out of range, they immediately went into high rate of speed travel. Based on their trajectory, they seem to be heading our way, Captain.
the woman said, as she handed forward a delta pad, the captain taking it from her grasp and beginning to look it over very intently, swiping through the files and delta, finding herself at a picture of Mika.
Captain Mika of the starship Exoval, huh? There's no information here about her record, known deals in the territory, nothing. Where the hell did she get a Category 2 ship? No, it doesn't matter.
The woman said, smiling down at the screen.
According to the trajectory listed here, she's trying to be smart. She most likely plotted a course outside of the main travel route in order to avoid primary confrontations. But that only put her right in our path. And without any other ships around for ages, it's just us. Most of the other ships are monitoring more frequently traveled sections of this part of space. I don't know whether it's that we're extremely lucky or that this Captain Mika has just become the unluckiest person in the universe. But regardless of the reasons, the fates have smiled on us.
She said, standing from her chair, tossing the data pad back to the woman who had just entered as she made a quick march around the desk, heading out of the doors of the office, on board a bridge filled with armed soldiers all moving about, doing their duties on board the ship.
Captain on the bridge.
One of them shouted, as all of them stopped to salute.
At ease,
she said as she stormed around, finding her way to the captain's chair on board the bridge.
all hands to stations. Bowman, take us out of orbit, plot a course, bearing 8593724. Congratulations, boys. Our wait is over. Our prey is within our line of sight. Soon we will seize our objective, and in doing so, put an end to this war. It's hunting time, boys,
the captain said, a large smile on her face as she gripped into the holds of her armchair.
Take us out and move us at light speed. 15, based on the bearings that I was given. We'll encounter them within the next 48 hours. Have all long-range scanners active. These idiots are about to walk right into their own funeral. Let's open the door for them,
she said with a wicked smile as the massive Category 3 Class A war vessel charged, its engines emitting a massive array of lights as it pulsed into the distance of space. It appeared trouble was on its way.